those items are. As we're getting started now, SuperNinTaylor first on the restream. We're going to sync that up in just a moment for you here. Both runners ignoring the sanctuary chest, so not of interest for them.
Not at all. It seems like they're making a pretty standard route towards Kakariko, just like they would in a normal race, outside of the obvious quick start to your house. So, no divergence yet. We'll see what they decide to pick up over in Kakariko.
Yeah, Kakariko usually, and it's very, very rare. I want to say it's like less than a percentage. On my experience, that Kakariko has absolutely nothing. So Kakariko usually is a good first stop for the runners. Even in a spoiler log race, if you're only getting a couple hearts, it's still a good stop to make sure you have a little health as you go through the seed. So being the first chest we're opening, obviously we have no bombs yet. Probably some in here as we get the cannon burner. There's those bombs. Fire rod. And maybe... Nope, not opening the last one. Well, Acktheboker did, and it was $20. And in the back of... Oh, go ahead.
I wonder if that $20 is going to come in. Oh, never mind. There goes 300. So I think they might be okay on money for a little.
Yep, I think they're going to be in good shape at this point. So they're both going to go ahead and exit blind set now with their goodies. SuperNinTaylor with 20 rupees less than Acktheboker at this point. So there's your rupee leader. Well, 15 rupees, I guess.
Outside of Zora, I think they're pretty much covered, though, more or less.
Yep.
So I think we'll be okay.
And if Zora is not required, then chances are they're already covered. We're not dropping a bomb there, so Ack picking up the sword. He is picking up a few extra blueberries just so he doesn't have to stop and route in extra ones later. So he's going to get those since he's walking by. Bottle Vendor has the other rod. That's actually the first one, I think, was the ice rod. So this one is the fire rod. Either way, they have both rods. Actually, that was the ice rod. I can't see.
Either way, they're dual wielding less than 2 minutes in, so let the mages.
And Acktheboker picking up his heart from the tavern now. Both runners, of course, getting that. And now heading down to the library area. Now let's see if they're not going to go in the library and show us. So since they're walking by, we will point out there actually is one of our swords in there today. So they may decide to route that in later. They may not. So since we don't get to see that check like we normally do, we'll pass that info on here. So going out to race game right now, something out there that SuperNinTaylor and Acktheboker both want. Let's see what that is.
Or blueberries, maybe.
Nope, it's the bow.
Slightly more substantial than blueberries, unless you really like blueberries.
So now we are almost able to fully complete the Eastern Palace, which, as you can see, we already know all the pendants and crystals on our tracker. We have those marked because we're not going to get map checks here. They already know that information. So we've already marked all the pendants and crystals. We also know that both Misery Mire and Turtle Rock require the Quake Medallion today. So we don't need to worry about bombos. We don't need to worry about ether today.
Yeah, it's a 1 medallion seed, which is nice, because those can be in far-flung corners of Hyrule if you're not...
So we just got through the Moldorm Cave on SuperNinTaylor's side. Ack, meanwhile, is going to Hyrule Castle. So SuperNinTaylor picking up his hammer from Mini Moldorm Cave, not bothering with anything else. Why is it called Mini Moldorm Cave, by the way? You saw it. There's 4 Mini Moldorms out there. Ack will want to obviously route in that hammer later. Probably has it planned for a certain part later on. For right now, he is going to do the Hyrule Castle search. And it looks like SuperNinTaylor is actually going up there now himself.
Yeah, it looks like he's following in Ack's footsteps for now. I wonder if he'll just grab the hammer or grab some other.
I wonder if he's trying to delay the hammer to a certain point later on when he's in the area anyway, but I'm not sure if we can get that far without that. We'll see what he decides to do.
It also depends on what's going to determine Dark World access for us.
Of course. And typically we do need to have at least some lifting handwear and a Moon Pearl, of course, for Dark World access. Moon Pearl absolutely necessary, so those kinds of things will come into play. We'll get to those later, I'm sure. Acktheboker is the first to get to basement level 3. Zelda is not in her cell today. The reason for that is because she's already in the Sanctuary in open mode, so we're not worried about her right now. I mean, normally we are, but not in this circumstance.
No, nothing to rescue, so there must be something good in the chest.
Yep, there's your power glove.
It would appear that Zelda forewent the possibility of learning how to lift and just left that in.
So Ack is now popping off the ledge and heading south. I have a feeling he's heading now to Mini Motor and Cave himself.
That would make sense. They're basically just going to switch locations.
Exactly.
I do wonder if SuperNinTaylor will get some better RNG with that green guard, though. As Ack was trying to kill the armored one, he had a little bit of help.
Yeah, our RNG for the win sometimes on these guards. Not 100% consistent at all times. Ack is working on the mini Moldorms right now. That one did not want to go. That one did.
Mostly cooperative.
Ack is going to pick up the extra money here and some extra bombs, which he filled up his bomb bag, so he's good on the bombs.
Yep, I wonder if that was a case of him either not knowing exactly where the hammer was or just deciding that he wanted the rupees.
It really does come down to runner preference. Some runners will try to just note that the item is in a cave with 5 items and open all 5 items just because, you know what, you're there, you might as well. Just in case there's something you overlooked. But other runners will eyeball the specific chest and say, okay, I don't need 20 rupees, I don't need a single green rupee, I don't need 3 bombs. I'll skip all those.
It's definitely easier when you're going through the log to just worry about what rooms you need to go into, but it saves time in the long run to do it the other way, so depends on...
Absolutely. And sometimes you can get fewer safeties but have a harder time on the climb and have to either take a death or slow down a little more.
That is definitely the high wire that both of our runners try to balance for themselves, because you want to do everything with 3 hearts if you can, but there's some things that you don't want to do with 3 hearts, so it's kind of a given.
So we're making early Plain and Desert Palace here. We have everything that we need to clear this except for the lamp.
Although we can use the fire rod there, so I think we'll be okay.
True, we can use the fire rod, that is true. At the same time, the lamp uses less magic, so if they can come across, I'm sure they're happy to pick it up right there.
Or, you know, Desert could just have the lamp. That works too.
Exactly. And Acktheboker is over at Sahasrah's hut, so let's see what he's picking up over here today. We already know where his green pendant is hiding, so there's the mirror and 20 rupees, and he decides to go to open the middle chest just to show us, I guess. 10 arrows in there.
Early mirror, that should make routing a bit nicer if there's anything in the light world and dark world in the same spots that we need to route.
Well, lamp and mirror are already found. This means that Tower of Hera is now completely open. So they can go up there now as well. So pretty much every single dungeon in the light world can now be completed if the runners so choose to do so. Depending how they route it, we may or may not see certain ones done right now.
And there's still no boots picked up by either of them, so the boots must be somewhere farther hidden.
Now, you never like seeing those boots very, very deep in a speed run when you have a case where you have the ability to see exactly where it is. The last thing you want to see is, oh, boots are at the back of Ganon's tower.
Right, at some point, if you don't get boots until Ganon's tower, you're basically doing a speed walk rather than a speed...
Yeah, speed walking is a lot slower than speed running. I don't recommend it. Unless you have shortness of breath, then yeah, use the speed walking. SuperNinTaylor having a hard time at the start of that mole's fight, apparently. Acktheboker already picking up his swag net from the old man. It's the old man trying to catch butterflies in that dark cave.
I'm pretty sure he was actually going after the bat.
Maybe.
SuperNinTaylor's still having some difficulty over here with the landmine.
He's having a difficult time with this fight. It is a regular single sword, but he does have the hammer. The problem is more for him to hammer hitboxes. But it looks like the second worm is down now. There goes the third one. He's done. And look, some blueberries.
Well, 10.5 minutes in, he's got his first crystal. That's a pretty good start.
And we just saw Holiday Link turn into a reindeer on Acktheboker's side. The Moon Pearl sprite there. Or a Dawn Moon Pearl.
I didn't catch it. Did he have a red nose or not?
I didn't see that either.
Hopefully we'll have another chance to look at it before he grabs the Moon Pearl.
Even if we don't, there's a bunny bean possibility later, so they still get a chance.
That's fair. Turtle Rock Poke Room is always a chance.
Yep, Turtle Rock, our Thieves Town has them as well, I think.
They do, but those are usually a little easier to avoid.
And SuperNinTaylor requires the Master Sword from Agina today. The old man or the old hermit in the desert comes through for us. Acktheboker decides to open this chest. Maybe Acktheboker may have forgotten which chest is which here, so he... Actually, no, I need the key from that. He needed the key to open the door, so he's going to go down to the... Decide he wants a cup of coffee today, so here we are.
Yep, spinning tiles aside, it seems like it's ready. Time for a coffee break.
He's not really taking... Well, there it goes. Now he can have a break.
He just wanted to wait till you mentioned that he wasn't going to take a coffee break to take a coffee break.
Yep, pretty much. I'm sure Ack listens to these races, so... And SuperNinTaylor picking up his mirror and other collectibles.
Yep, a little bit more retracing for SuperNinTaylor.
And we didn't point out the hook shot that was already picked up on by Acktheboker as well. We didn't point out that that was found here as well.
Alright, so it looks like he's done with Hereford now, and he's going to head over to East S Mountain.
Actually, I realized why I didn't point out the hook shot. I think I misread which item that was. I read Basement Cage and for some reason thought that was a coffee break. Oops.
Yeah, they definitely have some interesting names for some of these locations. He's taking a long walk through Spiral Cave. There must be something good.
So we're going through Easter Palace now for SuperNinTaylor. Stops to pick up the big key. He gives us the hint tower just because he can, and it actually turns out to be a useful hint. The flippers can be found on a stump. He did not know that hint tower was going to say that, so he wasn't showing that off just because he knew it was a good hint. He doesn't have information on that, so that just turned out to be a good hint.
I'll tell you, if this wasn't a spoiler log, that location could have had him stumped.
But
I'm waiting for the Kana Samari to just yoink me off the stage for that joke. It was so bad.
Indeed, and the Moon Pearl is now in Acktheboker's possession. So his Dark World access is now pretty much ready to go.
Yep, everything outside of Dark Death Mountain.
Correct. And yeah, that trip up Death Mountain early was required because of that Moon Pearl, obviously. So there was no way to avoid coming up here early. We are going to have to at least a second climb today of Death Mountain.
Alright, and SuperNinTaylor is working on making quick work of his second crystal.
Yep, so that's already 2 crystals for SuperNinTaylor. As I kind of suggested earlier, all 3 Light World dungeons can be done. So it looks like SuperNinTaylor is kind of starting with that path right now. Acktheboker has, meanwhile, revealed what SuperNinTaylor showed us via the unexpected hint earlier, that Stumpy had to flip.
Would that make him like a cypress tree if he was good at swimming?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you, but either way, Acktheboker is now going into K45, which also is important because there is your Power Glove, or Titansmith, rather.
There's definitely a bit of a different strategy here with SuperNinTaylor taking out any dungeons and all dungeons that he can get his hands on, whereas Acktheboker's focusing a lot more on getting everything you need.
Yeah, this is a case where you're weighing whether it's faster to power yourself up and then do things quickly, one at a time, or whether to clear what you can while you're there and take the small time loss to save yourself roading time later. So it really is a question of which strategy will win out in the end. I'll be very interested to see how this plays out. That SuperNinTaylor is going to get his old man trip prize soon. And Ak is already going to Ice Palace. This is his first dungeon if he completes it.
With 5 hearts, it's kind of a tall order, and no bombos too. He's going to need some.
Yeah, no one likes to double dip Ice Palace, so I imagine he's going to try and complete it.
I'm pretty sure most people don't like single dipping Ice Palace, so yeah,
No.
I second that.
No, correct.
Meanwhile, SuperNinTaylor is trying to do a tap dance around the falling cat.
Unfortunately, he was forced to eat one. So you can see those lovely bombs up on Spectral Rock. Obviously, I don't think Ak picked those up, if I'm not mistaken. He just ignored those. And SuperNinTaylor is surely going to tower here himself right now.
That's interesting. That's now the second dungeon that Acktheboker has jumped into and then jumped out of afterwards without.
That is strange.
Now, given it was only the first chest in Ice Palace that had the flute, but still.
Yep, he was going for the flute, clearly. He wants... It seems the transportation is something he values. So we're going to get an early freeing of the deck, an earlier freeing of the deck than I expected, to be honest, given where that is. So we're going to have that for Mac right now, and he gets to listen to some music while we get to watch SuperNinTaylor go into the basement for his hook shot that we neglected to mention earlier because I forgot which chest was what, apparently.
Yeah, I think I made the same mistake.
And SuperNinTaylor is now heading, it looks like, down to his own coffee break. So question in chat, how much time do the runners have to prepare for each seed? Or with each seed, rather? It's a 15-minute period that they get before the study log period that is granted by the spoiler bot that runs the race. That is, by the way, not necessarily enough time to be able to manage all of the routing decisions you need to make for the race. It just gives you a chance to see where everything is, plan your early route, and then at that point the race is already underway when you're still working on the late route. So runners are pretty much going to finish their route on the fly as they're racing.
Yep, they have access to the log at all times, so I'm sure they have their stream up on one side and the log up on the other side as they try to complete what they're doing when they're.
Notice Acktheboker went and got his boots. So now we know that the flute and the boots were 2 things that Acktheboker put a high priority on. And he wanted to get to those as soon as possible. He may decide to start clearing dungeons now that he can run.
That would make sense. There's not really a whole lot left that he drastically needs, so we should start getting crystals.
The comment in chat, Ack just wanted boots, flute was just a means to an end. That is right, but it helps with the transportation so he doesn't have to, walk down there.
He does need to be careful with 1 heart heading into pod. He needs to make sure that he gets in there before he gets...
Yeah, otherwise that would be a very unfortunate game over and back to the... In this case, he would go... Oh, no, he has to defeat Agam, so I guess we'll take it right back to the light world then.
Yeah, and even with the flute and the boots, that's still quite a bit of a trek.
Exactly. And Acktheboker pays off everyone's favorite contortionist, Kiki the Monkey, for 100 rupees. And into Palace of Darkness he goes. Now, he could take a quick death just to reset his health if he wants to. He's not doing that. He's going to go with the item, and maybe he'll take the death after that. Or he'll take it now. That, I assure you, was not planned.
If I had $1 for every time those Medusas did that to me, I'd be able to make money. And SuperNinTaylor with his quick Moldorm kill and third crystal.
And Axe showing off a low glitch there. He hammer dashed into the skull. The skull did not vanish. He still pushed the switch.
That's nice. I think I've only seen that once or twice. That's always a cool little trick.
The comment in chat already being made, this is a pendant Palace of Darkness, which means that, yeah, he's probably here for a reason. Also being pointed out that the item in that chest was a blue potion, which he could have used for a health refill before he died.
I think at that point it might be a better idea to save the blue potion for some more dangerous effects.
I agree. SuperNinTaylor getting his Bacon Blade. That was in Spiral Cave, so the only sword that remains that he does not have is in the library. The question will be whether he feels the need to get that later or not.
Yeah, I don't specifically know how much time that saves. I think in general people would avoid it, but he might find it worth his time.
Gold Sword doesn't do much in a lot of places, but it nonetheless is an upgrade where it counts. So, yeah, it still can be worthwhile to get that. SuperNinTaylor picking up the blue boomerang just because.
Wait, why wouldn't you pick up the blue boomerang? That's the best item in the game.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it doesn't hurt to stun the enemy once in a while. Speaking of which, we should probably confirm what the stun prize is for today's seed. Gonna get that in front of me again right now, if I can find it. Where is it? Stun prize is actually, the stun prize isn't worthwhile. Stun prize is a bomb refill. So, they won't be worrying about that today too much, I don't think.
I wouldn't think so, though it might come in handy if for some strange reason they run out.
Yeah, I don't see that happening though, because a lot of the bombs they need will be spent by the time they are doing the last dungeon.
SuperNinTaylor forgot for a minute that he didn't have flippers.
Yeah, he almost went down there, it looks like. Now, let's see if he remembers where the flippers were located.
Since he got the hint, I would hope so.
I would hope so, yes. He's getting the power glove first. The SuperNinTaylor pausing the doorway. It looks like he may have temporarily forgotten, so he may be consulting the spoiler log. Hops back into the portal.
There we go. Looks like the spoiler log came through for him.
Yep. He might have thought that the flippers were in K45. That's being pointed out in chat as well, actually, now. So, yeah, it's possible that he got his locations confused. He had double checked because he forgot which one it was.
That's a convenient way. That's a convenient mistake to make since they're both in the dark world and right next to each other.
That's exactly, and this is exactly a convenient place for a mistake like that to happen, right nearby. Now, there is the bomb shop there. We're not going to worry about that right now. By the way, something you don't see very often, all 3 Light World dungeons are already cleared on SuperNinTaylor's side. He's cleared all 3 of them. So he's just got Dark World left to go at this point.
Yeah, he definitely made a priority of getting out those dungeons that he could clear.
And he's mirroring over and swimming. Hey, it's Ice Palace.
So without which,
Yeah, so without question, he's going to probably stop and get his Ocarina Wise here. That was a very quick freezer kill. Very nice. And
It was.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You got it.
Oh, I was just to say, Acktheboker now working on his Armos Knights.
Seemed to have D-pad issues for a minute there.
And his first crystal is down. And SuperNinTaylor gets to clear all these pen gators. And he picks up the 8 bombs just because they're there. Why not? Refill the bombs.
I'm inclined to believe that he may have been going for the full magic since he doesn't have Bombo, so he's going to need that magic. He just.
So he's going to open up the hole. He's going to fall down. He has to kill the 2 skeleton Ristolfo's Knights down here. Normally you'll see a hint red by now. We're not going to see that today, I don't think. Just going straight down.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just the one hint that we were graced with.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And that was probably just as a treat for us. Turned into an unexpected treat for sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was just as surprised as we were.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
SuperNinTaylor looking down during that bomb jump, proving that cool guys really don't look at explosions.
Acktheboker, meanwhile, is going into Thieves Town, so Thieves Town is next on his agenda. He is not prioritizing Light World Dungeons the way that SuperNinTaylor did, so this is going to be a very interesting race to see where the diverging paths end up winding up, where someone is ahead later.
It will be interesting to see where they converge. Also keep in mind that Thieves is the green pendant, so either Thieves Town has something in and of itself, or Sahasrahla is hiding something.
And those are both very tantalizing options, but with 4 items in Thieves Town, it's a very common situation Thieves Town could have something. Of course, it could be nothing itself, just Sahasrahla, like you said. We'll find out here. So Sunshine Room is being open. That tells me that Acktheboker is planning to fight Blind today. He didn't even open the chest in there.
Yep, so it leads us down to either Blind having something we need, or the old man having something we need.
Correct. And maybe something else too. We don't know it offhand.
To answer Synac's question in chat, yes, Ack did go into Ice Palace and into Hera and decided not to clear either of them. Just grabbed the item out of there and then ran for the...
I think that was Rujara who asked that, actually. That's our tracker today, by the way. So thank you to him for pushing the buttons today.
Very much so, especially because as this is a spoiler race, he is doing basically the same amount of work in half the amount of time. So kudos on the multi...
So Acktheboker already coming upstairs. And you want to make sure you bring the maiden up, otherwise you're going to have a hard time. Ladies and gentlemen, we get to see our blind pun for the day. And that is, I got my tires fixed for a flat rate.
If you're going to make puns like that, you should retire.
Yeah, pretty much. So question in chat, does Tracker get a copy of the spoiler log? Yes, and the reason for that is because the Tracker is then able to mark the crystals, pendants, and medallion requirements so that we don't have to worry about that later.
Speaking of medallions, it looks like Blind dropped one for us.
There's your interesting item from Blind. So we now get some music first.
Blind must be taking hints from our bird of choice because he dropped Quack.
Indeed. And speaking of Quack, the Quack is back for SuperNinTaylor. Swag Duck Air is now in operation for both runners. Call 555 Duck for all your transportation needs, but only if you're in Hyrule. Number does not work out in Dark World or anywhere else in the real world. Please do not call. So it looks like Ack is going to go to Sahasrara, and look what Sahasrara had. Silver arrows. That is optional. The logic requires it, but for a skilled runner, that is optional because you can go through the Ganon fight without those silver arrows if you do a spin slash as Ganon teleports. So it is quicker in this case for Ack to, he felt, to get the silver arrows than it is to do the spin slashes.
Most definitely. It also makes certain bosses like Vitreous much faster.
It does. It makes up for time immediately. SuperNinTaylor speedrun can finally begin. And he's not obliging us yet because he's on a small ledge overlooking a cliff.
Looks like he's gonna make. Yep, looks like he's gonna make his way in the pod and grab what he needs. That was an interesting route. He went north and then went west rather than going west first.
Who are you talking about?
SuperNinTaylor. He sprinted to the north of the Murderdactyl as opposed to sprinting to the south of it.
Ah. And now SuperNinTaylor is going to pay off our monkey friend.
I wouldn't exactly call him a friend. He steals 110 rupees just to open a door that you literally can't open any other way.
Yeah, the word friend is subjective.
Sounds like an exercise in Monopoly, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Alright, so now they are retracing each other's steps. It's going to be a relaxing time for both of us. We get a little bit closer to Speaking of friends, that red Igor is getting a little close. And Acktheboker showing the superiority of Silvers with a one-cycle landmow. Very.
Yeah, that does make it very, very quick to kill the land molus. And not just that, but bosses like Vitreous, who we have to kill later too, they go down, those eyes just fall very quickly, those silver arrows. So that's where the silver arrows come in very handy for something like that. SuperNinTaylor getting his Palace of Darkness big key in the meantime. So he might be looking at the big chest as a possibility here. And then bonking a chest for a key.
Speaking of Vitreous, it looks like we're going to have that sooner rather than later.
Oh, he's trying to be a little swaggy on the hammer jump here, get an extra bomb out while the first one is sitting there. He got it. Canis Samaria, it's gotta be Kane.
It was just for swag too. He didn't even need that bomb.
Yeah, that was completely swag.
And that right-hand side Wizrobe ruining what would have been a very, very nice Meyer.
SuperNinTaylor is now heading over to Thieves Town himself. Most assuredly, he is also after that Quake Medallion that Blind so conveniently has in his possession and refuses to give up, so he must kill him! Kill him! Ack is completely showing off right now. Oh, so much for that.
He made it a little more than halfway. That's at least an A for effort.
He failed to make it. I give him an F for failing to make it.
You are a harsh grader, Cyclone.
Oh, I can. You still lose either way, right? Someone says G for gravity.
That's what we call unfortunate reality.
Yeah. Okay, F for respect. I will grant that, yes. So those little green bugs, those hurt. And since our runners are both sitting, I think they're both still on green mail. Yeah, they're both still on green mail. I think those do 2 hearts of damage if you touch them, so you don't want to touch them.
Yeah, they do. They are terrifying. One of the most understated, terrifying enemies in the game, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And Vitreous gets liquefied with silvers.
Yep, that's how you make a eyeball milkshake very, very quickly.
Cyclone, there are some things that are not appetizing.
Too much?
Just a little bit. There might be people eating in chat, Cyclone. Think of the people eating in chat.
Anyway, getting away from disgusting things, SuperNinTaylor now off to his flat rate.
He'll have to tread carefully here with 6 hearts.
Very much so, but it's a scripted fight. A lot of the top runners have the script down, so he probably will be fine here.
Oh, I just wanted to make a tread pun.
Oh yeah, I know.
Takes a couple hearts of damage, but blind is down.
Acktheboker, meanwhile, is going into the dam. I think he's heading into Swamp Palace, completely ignoring that chest, and probably going to ignore that piece of heart sitting outside, too.
Yeah, pieces of heart are only useful if you get 3 more of them, so I doubt he's going to pick it up.
Indeed. Now, I may have noticed Treasure Game. That heart container, by the way, was Sank Heart. That was the one that refills your health. And we're going to get our trip to the dwarf today, it looks like. Or maybe not.
Looks like we're going to get our gold sword.
We're getting our library check.
And SuperNinTaylor grabs the stick of butter off the library.
And off to Palace of Darkness, looks like for Eastern Palace for SuperNinTaylor. He might be getting his own silver arrows at this point because he has that green medallion now.
I assume he would, since he's done with Eastern and already dipped pods. It's the only thing left over here.
It's the only thing he has left. There they are. And right back to the desert he goes with that. So in terms of crystal dungeons, he still has Misery Mire, which looks like might be his next target. He still has Swamp Palace, and he still has Turtle Rock. So he has 3 dungeons remaining at this point. Gonna pull out his Quake Medallion after attacking the bird, and then attacking the bird again and again and again.
That's the definite downside to sword beams, is that you can hit somebody with a butter sword and do fighter sword damage.
Yeah, pretty much. So SuperNinTaylor opens up Misery Mire. Acktheboker is working his way through Swamp Palace right now. Swamp Palace are not really having very much in there today. The best thing I think was in there today. I think it was a fairy in a bottle. Probably the best item in there, and I didn't see if Ack picked that up or not.
Princess Zelda, to answer your question in chat, this is a doubleheader. The second game will be played directly after this.
That's correct. There will be no interview following this game. We're just going to go have a quick conversational wrap up here, and then we'll go right into the second study period, which there'll be an intermission here while we do that. Then you'll get the second rate.
You know, I can't imagine how difficult it would be to do back-to-back spoiler logs, because you have all that information in your head and you can't mix any of it up, or else you'll go to the wrong spot.
I want to interrupt you for a second. We're having another hover, and then SuperNinTaylor pushed the wrong button, but he still got the hover. Whoa!
That might not have been the wrong button. He may have been taking a break to adjust his grip.
Maybe. That either wrong button or very, very lucky. One or the other. I'm not sure which. We may have to see if our second crew can ask him about that later.
Oh, if I were SuperNinTaylor, I would never tell. And looks like we're seeing Spooky in addition.
Oh, that just sounds spooky.
Well, it was obvious that Sahasrara was worried about werewolves since he was keeping the silver arrows. So yeah, spooky indeed.
Indeed.
And SuperNinTaylor is just finishing up his own eyeball gelato.
Jeez, you're criticizing me about the milkshake one.
I didn't say it was. I didn't mean that it was terribly gross. I just think you got the consistency wrong.
So SuperNinTaylor now has crystal number 5, and meanwhile Acktheboker is back in Ice Palace. This would be his 5th crystal. Question in chat: who is ahead? If you want to go by crystal count, at this point, SuperNinTaylor would be ahead by crystals. However, given the nature of this type of race and the fact that we don't have a specific run, they have to plan the run on their own. We won't really have an idea who's ahead till we get to the final dungeon, which in this case is Ganon's Tower. Ack is doing a very sneaky hover here over the pit without doing any bomb jump or switch pushing or anything. He gets it.
I think you wanted redemption from that failed hover attempt in Mire.
So we have confirmed, ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 hoverers here. It's going to be interesting to see who decides to try to skip Moldorm 2 later. And if he goes, not today!
It's a pretty accurate description of how Moldorm 2 reacts to everything.
Pretty much. And Ack pushes the block onto the switch. This avoids the Cane of Samaria necessity.
You know, this is definitely looking to be a very close race.
It could be. Tower of Hera would be a very quick dungeon, and I think what Acktheboker is doing is he's doing that last. So SuperNinTaylor, having done that while he was already up there, the extra time to go through the whole dungeon while I was up there, get to it and go through it. Turtle Rock will probably be his last dungeon, then he's going to walk to right to Ganon's Tower from there. Acktheboker, meanwhile, is going to head up from here after he completes Cold Stare. He probably will do Turtle Rock next. So both will be in Turtle Rock together, and then Acktheboker will probably get out of Turtle Rock ahead of SuperNinTaylor, do his Tower of Hera. This could be a very, very close entry into Ganon's Tower.
It could, and speaking of very close, those ice particles nearly took out Acktheboker after he'd finished off Cold Stare.
Yeah, even if you get the last hit, that last speck of ice could take you out. So as forecast going right up Death Mountain, there's no reason for him not to go up there right now.
Yeah, it's the only thing he has left. It's the perfect ending for your last 2 crystals being up there. You get 1 trip, and you get to take out all 3 dungeons.
Yeah, it works out very nicely. SuperNinTaylor prioritized all the Light World dungeons. Was slower to get his flute and his boots as a result. I should say his ocarina and his boots. Acktheboker prioritized those 2 items, so he had the transportation to get to the dungeons in the Light World a lot quicker and make his way around to the portals as well. So, yeah, this is going to be a very, very close race. It's going to be interesting to see which strategy ends up winning.
It is, and I feel like we're going to see the juxtaposition of these 2 strategies over and over again as more of these races play out.
Absolutely.
And SuperNinTaylor going for the quick kill, which is absolutely amazing to watch.
That was an absolute quick kill. And he needed that right now since Acktheboker's already up in entering Turtle Rock.
Most definitely, but Argus's pirating days are definitely over.
Yeah, both runners now have their calamari, and who knows, maybe I'll give that to the girl later.
Depending on how quickly they make it up there, it might be slightly tepid.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Nothing a microwave can't fix.
That's a fair point. I didn't know they had microwaves in Hyrule.
Neither did I, honestly.
Probably just use a very controlled use of the fire rod.
Maybe the dwarves should try cooking. Oh, SuperNinTaylor tried to avoid the Deadrock impacting by using the hook shot, but Deadrock did knock it out of the way quickly enough. He took the hit anyway. That's a little glitch with the hook shot. If you hold the hook shot out and it's firing or retracting, anything that runs into you will not hurt you.
But on the flip side, I'm fairly certain the Deadrocks are one of the only, if not the only, enemy that you can't actually hookshot through.
So we're having a comparison of times in chat. Ack apparently grabbed the first key at 47:23. I didn't take a look at the time, so I'm going to go by that information from our tracker Regaro in the chat here. So we're going to see when SuperNinTaylor grabs that key to get an idea how far ahead in Turtle Rock Acktheboker is, and this will help us in turn figure out how far behind either runner will be when Ack finishes Tower Hera.
Oh yes, it's definitely looking like it's going to come down to seconds rather than minutes.
Indeed. Now, Ack went to the left at first, did he not?
I believe so, yes.
Maybe we can't really use that as a valid comparison then, but if you assume that he would have been entering the room now, would have been about a minute and a half behind grabbing that key.
That sounds about right. And to answer our earlier question about the bunny sprite of the Holiday Link, it did indeed have a red note.
And there was a question in chat about the big key guessing game. I will explain that we do still play it to a certain extent, but we will not be using the bot because whereas we could do something where we could standardize what chest is what and say pick a numbered chest and see where it is. At the same time, the fact that the spoiler log does exist means that could be utilized in methods. So we're just going to say go ahead and name where you think it is, and if you get it right, good guess. But not yet. Save that for later.
Yeah, we still have a couple more rooms to clear before we get to that point.
In that case, another dungeon. And SuperNinTaylor taking a quick moment to say hi to Chompy, and then, completely ignoring everything in the room. And we're already having guesses in chat. I kind of expected that.
Yeah, chat tends to take listening as a loose guideline.
Indeed.
Alright, 3.5 heart green male Trinex. This should be fun.
Yeah, this will be very, very entertaining. I think Ack has that fairy, though, unless he didn't pick it up.
Definitely has a blue goo there.
Yeah, definitely. The second head is down, so Trinex is now Uninex. And the turtle's dead. Now, interesting note is that Acktheboker did not pick up the butter source, so that could have a slight impact on the proceedings as well here.
It could, although Silvers is likely to minimize that impact for the Ganon fight at the very least.
Indeed. At this point, I think if he did go to get the butter sword, I think that would have lost a little bit more time than he would have liked to by the time he could have done that.
Most likely. It's again a point of the way they routed and in what order they did.
So Acktheboker is not going against Tower yet, because you may notice Tower Harry is still not lit up on his tracker. He has to do that. So he's going to mirror here. And in he goes. And I think he already picked up the big key, so he can just go straight upstairs. Yeah, there it is. So as SuperNinTaylor stops on Laser Bridge, this is where it's going to get a little interesting right now. To see when SuperNinTaylor gets over to Gan's Tower, if Acktheboker is done in Tower Hera by then. Whatever happens, this will come down to execution.
Didn't take the safety door, and he's only got 1 heart.
Oh boy. I hope he has a potion. Or a fairy.
Or you hope he's familiar with Oko, either way.
Yeah. He found a second heart, so I guess that's okay.
I'm pretty sure that's not going to make any difference in with Green Mail.
No, probably not. But he's right behind. He's doing the strat from behind, and then works his way back around. The main mech didn't even get a shot at him. Oh, very smooth kill. Look at that. We have sync boss kills. Ack's going to have to mirror back to Ganon's Tower, but SuperNinTaylor, he's going to have to walk over. They're about 5 or 10 seconds apart, I want to say right now, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a close one. Sync crystal grabs on crystal number 7 in different dungeons. They have to make their way across to Ganon's Tower either way. Get your guesses in chat as to where that big key is in Ganon's Tower. We're going to follow whoever goes in first as the... and see... Well, actually, it doesn't really matter because I guess we're going by location, but... we'll follow them as they go in. Ackmir's over right away. He's already going in Ganon's Tower. SuperNinTaylor has to go through a couple Lionels here. And a third one. And he will now be opening the door to Ganon's Tower. Let's get the entry times here.
Alright, Cyclone, while we're waiting, where is that big key? What's your guess?
Oh, well, keep in mind we have a spoiler log, but I don't look at this one. So, I always say rando room, and I like to say top right.
That works for me. I didn't look at it either. I'm going to go left chest on Ice Armors.
got distracted on the entrance. I think it was about 15 seconds apart, though, so it's going to be super close here. That 15 seconds could be a difference with the gold sword as well. For SuperNinTaylor, he could make a small amount of time back. That could end up mattering.
What also could matter is that SuperNinTaylor has 1 extra heart over Acktheboker.
And meanwhile, Acktheboker has picked up his half magic and one of the keys here. Of course, they still need keys in Ganon's Tower. This could be a Dark Magician strat. Yes, it is for Acktheboker. And SuperNinTaylor may be doing the same thing. That was actually 2 keys in that room. Oh, he snuck through that spike acted. That's very nice.
Not sure if that was timing or luck, but he'll take it either way.
Yeah, it was nice either way. And SuperNinTaylor did the same thing. Keeping pace.
Alright, that leaves the lead as a static looking like about 1.5 room.
So it looks like it might be in this room right over here. Lower right of... I keep forgetting what we call that room. I think that's the... oh, it's called Dark Magician Room, DM room. Oh, that's the other room. What is this room called?
Is this the Hope Room?
It might be.
Oh, as Zelda says in chat, it is the Compass Room.
It is Compass Room. I'm just looking at the spoiler log for it right now. It does say that's where the big key is. So that is what it is. The room where the half magic was is DM room. So we're going to track the big key door being open. 5616. And SuperNinTaylor is 2 rooms away. Has to kill these mimics. And he's going to open the door at 5627. 11 seconds.
Alright, 11 seconds versus Gold Sword. This should be interesting.
Cannonball run. Almost takes a cannonball and possible fall in the pit. Avoids it. He's gonna blow open the security door. That's gonna slow things down just a little bit for him. Second bomb attempt. The first one didn't go. He's gonna pick up the fairy just to be safe, and why not an extra bomb and magic jar as well. So that's gonna lose him a little time, but the gold sword should make this gauntlet a little faster, as was noted in chat earlier as well. So these are some of the hardest rooms in the game, but they're gonna make it look easy.
They definitely do that, which is why you need to send these guys a follow, both of them, because I promise you, if it was Cyclone and I up here doing this, we would not look nearly as...
No, absolutely not. That's why these are some of the top runners, and that's why these runners have qualified for the main event. We did have more than 32 runners in this qualifiers, and some of them didn't make it. So we are getting some of the top runners in the final 32 here for your entertainment. Make sure you follow these guys.
SuperNinTaylor having a little difficulty with Landmo again.
And Acktheboker heading up to 4-6, avoiding the despawn again tower. If you go up at the exact wrong time, as the door to the other room closes, you despawn everything in Ganon's tower. He did not do that, looks like, so he can continue.
Yeah, this game definitely does not like you trying to do 2 different things on the same frame.
Yeah, it's a very well-programmed game.
From the perspective that you can do a whole lot of stuff without actually breaking the game into a soft lock or a hard lock, it is a very well-coded.
Indeed. And Ack is hovering Moldorm too. You knew it was going to happen. Let's see if SuperNinTaylor does it too.
Very, very nice. 2 redeeming attempts at his first fail after his first failed hover and mire.
Now, if SuperNinTaylor does decide to try for the hover, he has to get it. because he is a little bit behind now. Either that or he has to commit to the mold arm kill. If he takes a fall on the hover, that might be enough to decide the race.
Most definitely. Even at this point, he's going to be looking for a mistake from Acktheboker to take advantage of.
Yep, I believe that would be correct. And we are, by the way, in the triangle fight for Acktheboker. We probably should move the audio over here since he is slightly ahead. But SuperNinTaylor is on Moldorm 2 right now. And finishes Moldorm 2. He does the fight. No chances. And Axe Bat appears.
Wait a minute, I thought you said earlier that the duck wouldn't work in the Dark World. What is this sorcery?
Some kind of story about it being freed from magic or something. Anyway, we are now going... It is now time for the Big Pig in a cuckoo-shaped hole, oddly enough. Let's see what Ganon says today. Like other something, the majority of land slugs have 2 pairs of feelers or tentacles on their head. Now you know.
That's appropriate, since right now they're slugging it out.
Pretty much. So this is our 9 versus 24 matchup. SuperNinTaylor seed number 9, Acktheboker seed number 24 is the underdog in this matchup, according to the qualifier seed rankings here. So this would be a slight bit of an upset here for this first matchup. Obviously, anyone can win any day, especially with a case where you're routing everything. Whoever has a better route very often can win. Acktheboker has routed this very, very nicely, getting all the items. And it looks like that may come out ahead here. As, yes, we did find the arrows off of the old man near Eastern Palace. We're going to cook you with them right now. Nice pig. Setting up for a double or maybe a triple here. It was a triple. That is the race for Acktheboker. All he has to do is cross a 1x3 bridge, and he will be our winner. So stand by for a final time here in just a moment as he does so.
He definitely put the skillet on high heat for the bacon.
So his official time is 1 hour, 1 minute, and 37 seconds. And B-Torp was apparently here. Very good first race here. SuperNinTaylor on phase 3 of Ganon himself as Acktheboker finishes. So not going to be very far behind. They're going to take a brief break here, then they're going to be getting ready for their second race. So make sure you stay here. Don't go anywhere, because you're going to get to see Game 2 of this matchup right after this. If you're watching on YouTube, it will most likely be a different video than this one, because there will be a break in between on the live end. So if you're watching on YouTube, it will probably be right after this. So stay tuned on the next video here.
Very, very nice kill by SuperNinTaylor, ending in a double there, so he's about to walk across his own precarious break.
He survives the journey, and SuperNinTaylor finishes with a again, with the 15 minutes taken out, a 1:02:36, so 59 seconds behind. Very, very good race.
That race was spectacular, and it showed that even though they had very, very differing styles, it ended up being very, very close in the end.
Yes, it was very interesting to see the priority on the Light World dungeons for SuperNinTaylor. Looks like that priority might have been what slowed him down a little bit here, because he had the longer period of time without the boots. I think having access to the boots about 11 or 12 minutes earlier gave him the extra speed he needed to make up for the travel time. That would have cost him otherwise, and it gave him what he needed, I think, to come out ahead. Also, not stopping for the gold sword that SuperNinTaylor did pick up, that also ended up coming in Acktheboker's favor there. Very well done race on Acktheboker's part, but SuperNinTaylor also great race. 59 seconds apart. These are two very evenly matched racers, ladies and gentlemen.
Very much so, and with a disparity of 9 seed and 24 seed, it shows you that we have some really, really good people.
Yeah, if this is a 9 versus 24, imagine how everyone else in the tournament is going to be matched up, especially in the middle seeds here. We're going to have a lot of really good races in this tournament. So this is only the second day of the tournament as we're going live. I think it's about the 5th race we've aired as well. So you're going to see a lot of good races coming up in this tournament. Make sure you stay tuned to the upcoming races here.
Omni, to answer your question, the seed wasn't overly trolly, but you did have to go take out Green Pendant, Thieves Town for Quake, and then grab Silvers from Phosphorol if you so desired. And then a lot of our movement stuff was kind of hidden, so somewhat trolly in that regard.
And I'm just making sure that the runners have their next room ready to go here. I'm not sure if it's been created yet, but we're going to make sure we have that ready to go for you on the next race. And when they do get the study log on that, it will be a 15-minute period again. So we are going to go into a break on that. The next crew is not ready to go here yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and wrap up ourselves here most likely. And with that said, again, reminding you that about 15... Actually, I think the race just got created now. So in about, I want to say about 15, 20 minutes from now, the second race will be coming on here on Speed Gaming 3. Make sure you stay tuned. And we're going to hold the race room for one more minute here because the race is set for 8:30, so I don't want to have the stream cut off. We're going to hold the room for one more minute here before we change the layout over. And then you'll get to see that next race. As the explosions sleep again forever, on Acktheboker side, they will be momentarily on SuperNinTaylor side as well. Any last thoughts from you, Hammer, before we do turn over to the next race here?
No, not really. It was a very, very nice seed to watch. It showed a lot of divergence and ended up being really close at the end. So as a commentator, I can't ask for any more than that. How about you, Cycle?
That was a really exciting race. I actually was a guessing game in a way, as just figuring out who was going to be in the lead throughout. As will be the case with a lot of these races. I was starting to think SuperNinTaylor was ahead with the pennant clears, but then I realized Acktheboker grabbing the boots as early as he did gave him the time he needed to catch up. So it was a really, really excellent test of two different strategies and figuring out which one would come out ahead in the end.
It was indeed.
So with that said, we're going to go ahead and let the credits play out here actually after we wrap so you can see the counts here. But other than that, I think this is a good time for us to wrap up. Make sure also, as I'm just skipping up on the schedule right now to let you know, one moment here, that after the second race in this series, stay here on Speed Gaming 3. There will be a brief off-air period following that race, but after that, we're going to have another round of 32 race between Bentisi and Relkin. That will be at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, so 2 hours after the scheduled start for the second race. Also another race going on right now, Waiting Words versus Matt 7898, happening on Speed Gaming 5 if you want something to watch in the meantime while we get the second race set up here. So that's what else is going on the schedule on Speed Gaming tonight for the Spoiler Log Tournament. Some other options to also keep an eye on there. So with that said, I'm going to wrap up here. I want to say to all of you, chat, make sure you follow both these runners, which we'll repeat again in the second race, I'm sure. SuperNinTaylor, Acktheboker did an excellent job. Make sure you follow our tracker, Regaro, or I think it's just Reg, R-E-G, that he goes by on Twitch. And I think you said this is your first call earlier, Hammer Bro. Make sure you follow Hammer Bro here as well. Did a great job on his first call with us here today.
Thank you very much, Cyclone. Make sure you follow him as well, because he was the one who made sure that I didn't go off the deep end too far.
If you want to look at it that way. Any last thoughts before we wrap?
Oh, yeah, actually, there is one interesting thing. With the races that we have going on, the winner of Bentisi and Relkin actually plays the winner of the SuperNinTaylor and Acktheboker.
Ooh, I forgot that. So there you go. Now you have a reason to want to watch that one as well. So if you're happy to watch both races at once, bring both up here, and you can have a lot of Zelda at you tonight here. So with that said, I'm going to just at this point thank you, Chad, again for joining us, and anyone watching on YouTube. With that, may not all your seeds be pedestal seeds. Have a great night, and stay tuned for our second race, which will be called by Cassidy Moen and Wolfman 2000 in just a moment here on Speed Gaming 3.